We've listened to you, and now here comes a version of Sports and Other Stuff that is shorter, to the point, more concise. Stand by, here it comes.
T-Dog, J-Boy, and me, I'm Lugs. Our pride and joy is pumping our mugs. Be careful, kids, it could get rough. We're flipping our lids on sports and other stuff.
Welcome to Sport Weasel Central. I'm Lugs.
I'm J-Boy.
And I'm T-Dog.
Yes, sir. Fellas, did you know the Super Bowl pregame has already started on CBS? Hello, friends. You know, we all know the late Chiefs owner Lamar Hunt is credited with the name Super Bowl, but do you know why they use the Roman numerals?
Nope.
Oh.
They were created to avoid any confusion that could happen since the championship is not in the same calendar year as the regular season. Ha! So, for example, this weekend's game, the champs are of 2023, not 2024. So now you know the rest of the story. Lugs, did you know that?
I did not. That deep thought right there, I suppose, for NFL guys.
You know, they had to think of something. I guess, got to get fancy. And then Roman numerals, so why not just regular ones? Anyway.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, it's like you just give it a number. Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, welcome to the program, Sports and Other Stuff. Lugs, it's Super Bowl week. How you feeling about this? You like it?
I do. I think it's going to be a really good defensive game by the Kansas City Chiefs. I bet against not Lamar. I bet for Lamar. I bet against Patrick Mahomes, and I won't make that mistake again. But yeah, I think these are two quality teams. I think injury-wise, they're doing well. They have some injuries, but it's mostly nicks and cuts. So I think you're going to see two teams that are at their top, and it'll be very, very competitive, I believe, at this point.
What say you, T-Dog? You looking forward to it? You going to get some popcorn, a little Gatorade, a little Moscow Mule? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm pumped for the game. I mean, it's gonna like Lug said, it's gonna be two teams. 49ers were the number one seed. Chiefs had were a little up and down, mainly because of their inadequacies of their offense at times during the regular season. But shockingly, Andy Reid, one of the best coach, possibly you could say he's the best coach currently, still like manning a sideline in the NFL today. And I don't think there's any disputing Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league, so shouldn't be too shocked to see him. That's why it's funny to me, like people want to say there's conspiracy theories. Like, all right, Andy Reid went to Super Bowl before Patrick Mahomes. Multiple quarterbacks played well on him. Patrick Mahomes is clearly the most talented guy he had, and Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback. Shockingly, they're in it a lot because they have the best quarterback. But anyway.
Yeah, and Philly, he had some good teams, but they just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
It's just the way that was. So, T-Dog, you want to talk about prop bets? I think you sent us a text and said,
yep.
What's your most interesting prop bet you're thinking about? Lugs, you got one already?
No, I'm just going to bet pretty much straight up. I might go after some of the, will it be a 300-yard game for our boy Purdy, that sort of stuff, but not yet. I want to see what the numbers are.
T-Dog, you got some on your mind. I know you do.
Well, the main one for me is you want to talk about someone who is a degenerate gambler. My favorite is, will the final score be a scorigami? Do you all know what a scorigami is?
Oh, I forgot what that is. Help us.
A scorigami is a score that has not happened in the NFL yet. So it'd be a new final score if you put the two numbers together.
So are there numbers, like, for instance, out there, obviously?
Yeah, no, yeah. So I feel bad for the bookie who has to like go through the history of the NFL and be like, all right, there's never been a point total of like 55.
Yeah. Wow.
Like, so that's my favorite one because like, you know, I would assume you wouldn't get a lot of money, you know, betting no on Scorigami. So hopefully, you're making a decent amount of scratch if you do vote yes.
So it's like hitting a trifecta or something because it's so unusual to hit a unique number.
Yeah, it's plus 200 if you say yes.
Wow.
Or 2,000, my bad. It's plus 2,000.
Wow. That sounds like something Lugs would be all over that kind of deal.
Well, I may have to reach in the pocket and pull out whatever coinage I have. Yeah.
Yeah. And here's another one that hasn't happened since Devin Hester ran one back against the Colts, and then after that was Chinese water tether for us Bears fans. But opening kickoff return for a touchdown. If you vote for it or if you bet on it, it's 5,000 plus.
Wow. 2006, right? For
2006
Devin Hester.
7 season. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. 2006-7 season. Yeah.
In the rain in Miami. Yep. With Prince as the halftime show. Well, I was thinking more trivial on these prop bets, and here's one I'd like to make. I don't think it's out there, but let's see. Will Patrick Mahomes crack his helmet again? And part two, will there be a spare nearby? Remember, there was no spare helmet.
Yeah.
No chance? No chance of placing that one?
Considering they're in Vegas, I think that's probably not a good idea. I will say that.
No, right. It's not going to be cold. It's indoors. It's 72 degrees. Okay, and then the other famous one that everybody bets on, and I'd like to throw some money on this, the over-under on the national anthem. And I think it's Reba McEntire this year. Is that right?
Oh, if that's so, whatever, take the under, right? I would say take the under.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't have to impress anybody. Like she's had a full career. She's not trying to wow anybody. She's just going to try to do like a good performance, and that's it.
She's not stretching it, not going to hold some whole notes or ramp it up.
I'm not saying I know her personally. It just feels like it would be outside of what her persona seems to be. I will say that.
Lugs, what do you think about Reba, national anthem? Lugs?
Well, she was a rodeo star, so hello.
Oh.
She was a rodeo star, so she was a rodeo star, and so she carried the flag. She rode horses and stuff. So I'm thinking you're right. She will breeze through that sucker and get on out and have some barbecue or something. See, I want to see. Is there a prop bet on Jason Kelsey? Will he do something crazy again, like go into the audience and have a mosh pit for a 300-pound man, that kind of a thing? I want to see that. So
you're saying like say like these prop bets are multiple choice. You want the blue book. You don't want the multiple choice. You want to write one. You're right. Okay.
He wants the ACT test, the essay. He wants the essay.
In which quarter will Jason Kelsey strip off his shirt and go wild? So.
Yeah, you're going to be, remember the score thing with the little circles, and you take your number 2 pencil and you fill it in?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Your SAT or your LGA or whatever that
your
is.
Your American College Test, or Iowa Basic Skills. Don't know why it was always Iowa, but it was. Any other wild ones out there you're thinking about?
Well, again, the one
Not
that
for
showed
me.
Yeah, I won't say it's wild. The other one that just tells me like someone in your family needs to, get you some help is the people that vote on the Gatorade. I mean, I haven't paid attention to the color of Gatorade.
The color.
That's what I'm saying. Is someone has to watch clips of like multiple like Super Bowls in a row and watch like the Zapruder film, right? And be like, yes, I see the sequencing now. They're gonna try to throw us off, but I know they're gonna stick to the line. It's gonna be yellow.
I got some orange I'm working right here now. Do you think that's a harbinger, a foretelling truth?
Roger Goodell does listen to this podcast, so yes.
Yeah, he's a friend of the
Yes.
show. I was surprised
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
Did you guys get a charge? Speaking, you brought him up. I'll just hit it real quick. He brought up, somebody asked him in his State of the Union address, why the pay-per-view on Paramount Plus, Roger? Well, that's where our fans want to be, so that's where we're going to go. That's a company line, isn't it?
Oh, that's just that's nonsense. Let's just say that right off the bat. That's absolute nonsense. It's dollars and cents, and they were trying to force people to pay for that.
Imagine.
That's all that comes.
Look, there's a reason he gets paid a whole lot. Is he gets a bunch of arrows shot at him because, again, he's just a messenger boy for the 32 owners. So,
Yep.
I'm not gonna get too mad about him because that's just what he does.
Well, what was scary was the amount of money that did make, which means sooner or later it's going to go to pay-per-view, period. All of the games will.
It's going to be scary. Give it within 5 years. I think you're right. I
don't know. We'll see where streaming goes, though. I mean, that's the thing is streaming has to stay around. So, I mean, like I think we talked about it a while ago. I don't know if it's changed. Netflix, I think, is the only one that's really kind of making money.
That's
All these other
correct.
ones are still kind of like living in the red. So, we'll see.
Keep that antenna. Keep those rabbit ears. You might need them.
Yeah.
You never know. All right, T-Dog, you want to talk about coaching changes? And take that away. Go ahead, man.
I'll just kind of go through them real quick, and I'll ask you all, what do you all think is the best hire? And maybe I'm not saying which one you think is a bad hire. Which one do you all find kind of suspicious is what I would get at. So first, Harbaugh with he took the Chargers, which I understand. It mainly comes down to Justin Herbert because you look at it. They're $45 million over the cap going into next year, and they have like a few young players like Rashawn Slater and Derwin James to build around. But Joey Bosa has just been injured so much that I don't know if he'll be on the team next
True.
year. Mike Williams, similar. He's bringing with him his D coordinator, Jess Minter from Michigan. So I obviously I like the build of that team. Raheem Morris. You really look at what he's done with the Rams the last few years. Obviously, won the championship with them, and I guess it was 2021 against the Bengals. And particularly, if you look at what they did with this Rams defense, where it was Aaron Donald and just a bunch of like rookies and no names, they were a pretty solid unit considering like how young and inexperienced they were outside of Aaron Donald. So I think he's a fairly interesting hire. Dave Canellis is one that I find kind of fascinating. He's been coaching in the league since 2010, but last year was his first year being an offensive coordinator. And, he helped revive Baker's career. He got Mike Evans the Scrooge McDuck coin pool for like all the statistics he put up. And he was able to get the Bucks to win the South when at least I thought they were going to be a gutter team this year. He inherits Bryce Young, and I think he has the potential to be good. But just you look at the rest of that roster on offense in particular, he's got his work cut out for him. Mike McDonald, he was the DC in Michigan who finally beat Ohio State in 2021. Then the last 2 years, he's been with the Ravens. And, his unit this year had 60 sacks, 18 interceptions, 13 fumble recoveries, and allowed 16.5 points. He feels like one of those prodigies, but I still need to see how his staff shakes out because I don't think they've identified his OC or DC to work under him. Dan Quinn took the DC job. He was great at identifying an offense coordinator at his last job in Atlanta, Kyle Shanahan. But his OC, Cliff Kingsbury, I don't have a vendetta against this guy. I know it comes off that way, but
True.
I just feel how could he pick Kyle Shanahan and then pick Cliff Kingsbury? Just I don't know. Brian Callahan, he was the OC for the Bengals the last 5 years, and you look at when Burrow went down, how they were able to adjust in the offense around Jake Browning, which we always talk about. how good coaches adjust to the talent that they have. And the big coup that he got is his father, Bill Callahan, is going with him as the offensive line coach. He's recognized as one of the best offensive line coaches.
I remember that name. Yeah.
Yeah. And the last two, Jarrett Mayo, I think is an interesting hire. I mean, he's been a Pats linebacker his whole career. He was an All-Pro. He was a rookie, Defensive Rookie Player of the Year, won a Super Bowl, and has been a linebackers coach for him, I believe, the last few years. Beloved by Robert Kraft. I mean, obviously that's why he got the job. But I think the big thing he was brought in for is to kind of change the culture. They just wanted to kind of adjust after Bill Belichick, and we'll see. And Antonio Pierce was the interim coach last year for the last 9 games. He went 5-4, and the defense really cranked it up under him. They were able to beat 3 of their division rivals. I know he wasn't maybe the greatest for Chicago, but I think Luke Getsy, particularly with what Antonio Pierce wants to do, is a good hire because Luke Getsy, for the most part, got that team to really kind of run the ball at a high level in Chicago, and that's what Antonio Pierce wants to do with the defensive-minded team. So I think that's a good meld. I'll just ask you all real quick: who do you all think is the best hire, and then who do you all think are I'm not saying you dislike, but you're just kind of like suspicious of.
I think, the best move was Harbaugh going to the Chargers as far as that goes. It was interesting. Most of the billboards in L.A. had his picture on it, so they've already gotten their money's worth in advertising. So Harbaugh to there, but you're right. He's going to have a pretty spare cupboard after they get back into the season, unless they work some real strange deals. But Harbaugh. I'm not a Raheem Morris fan, and I'm not a Dan Quinn fan. They're both defensive coaches, and they do okay. But you need, with the way the rules have changed, you need an offensive coach. You really do. I mean, when you look at just what's going on in the league. So those are sort of my highlights. And you're right, Cliff Kingsbury. I mean, come on.
Wait a minute. All right, let me piggyback on that. You know why they got him, right? You know where he's been the last year? University of Southern California, coaching with Caleb Williams. Well, how about that? So to me, the best hire is that combo right there. Dan Quinn, Cliff Kingsbury. They're going to steal Caleb Williams away from the Chicago Bears, and that's going to be your match made in heaven for the next decade. Yes, sir. Done deal. Telling you.
As a homer.
I'm not no homer.
You're as a homer, you want that. But Caleb Williams has already said he will go wherever he's drafted. When he came out and said that he wouldn't go to Chicago.
Okay.
That's all changed now.
He got on the Twitter or the X or the X-ray, whatever it's called. He got on there and said, congratulations, Coach Kingsbury. I don't know. I'm just saying the tea leaves for me are starting to line up that he's going to be going as be a commander. That's all.
Don't you think that goes through? I would have to say I would want 3 number 1s, 3 number 2s, and your star player before I would trade Caleb Williams. I'd have to have the house.
How about that, though? T-Dog, what do you think?
I'll keep the Cliff thing real quick. I would just tell Caleb Williams, hey, here's a phone call from Kyler Murray. Let Kyler Murray tell you how he feels about Cliff Kingsbury.
Ooh, man, that
I think that's it.
That's cool.
I think it's a 5-minute phone call. And he's like, you know what? Never mind.
It's a 30-second phone call.
Yeah, it's a 30-second.
It's going to be over quick.
That's an angry mob right there, man. Well, you're stirring them up. Wow, but you could be right. You could be right about that. I don't know.
I think mine. Again, I'm going to go with Lugs. I know it's chalk, but just look at the track record of Harbaugh.
Yeah.
I mean, when he was I think his first big head coaching job was San Diego State. You see how he turned them around. Then he went to Stanford. They had a few good years afterwards with Shaw, but they finally sunk into the abyss again. Where he, during the highs of Harbaugh, they were winning 10 double-digit wins at Stanford.
Did he have Andrew Luck? Were you back?
Yes.
That's what I thought.
He recruited Andrew Luck. Then he went to the 49ers, very quickly made them a contender. And if you remember, Alex Smith had 2 revivals where Alex Smith was pick number 1, and not really his fault, never really did anything for the most part. He had one solid year under North Turner, but North Turner left. He really didn't do anything until Harbaugh got there. And that's when, Alex Smith's career got turned around. He finally had a guy who knew how to shape an offense around him. And, people can say what they want. Kaepernick, almost won a Super Bowl. And there probably should have been a penalty called on the DB in the end zone. But then he went to Michigan, and obviously it took a while. And obviously there's some indiscretions that maybe are legitimate, maybe not. Mm-hmm. But he not only beat Ohio State 3 years in a row, he finally got another title to Michigan. So just his track record speaks for itself. He is kind of weird. He's kind of kooky, but you know what? His players for the most part love him. I know the front office it feels like the front office people are the people that tire out of him. I just think him with Herbert, it's a done deal that it's going to take a while, particularly the division he's in with, Andy Reid and Sean Payton.
Denver.
And Antonio Pierce, I mean, again, I know he doesn't have the credentials of these guys, but he showed out in those 9 games. So, I'm not saying that the Raiders are going to be pushover. The one that stands out to me in terms of the coaches where I'm not saying he can't turn around, but Dave Canellis.
Oh yeah.
If you look at his background, obviously he did great as a first-year offensive play caller for the Bucs, but Mike Evans is going to be a gold jacket Hall of Fame level player. Baker, like we've talked about, I think he's been underrated for his career at portions. I don't think he was a completely fabrication of Dave Canellis. And, Godwin, it took a while because he still was coming back from his injury. Godwin started to get going, and Godwin's a top talent. I just wonder about these guys who only were OC for 1 year. Sean McVay, I know he took multiple years, to get when he got a job. I know he didn't call anything, when he was in Washington with the Washington football team, but he was at least an offensive coordinator for multiple years, like 3 years, and experience before that. So that's the one I really question is the Panthers selection of Dave Canellis.
I think you're right about that. Just because he doesn't have any players, and for all of my wishes for Bryce Young, I don't think it's there. I just don't. I think Canellis, about week 10, the hoodie will make his debut in Carolina.
In Carolina? No way in heck. Nope, never going to happen. The hood man in Charlotte? Come on, man. I don't know.
By then, the hoodie won't care. He'll just be so bored.
Sitting on the beach?
He's a football guy. You can just look at the man.
Wouldn't it be cool if he came back all tan and had a hair piece and looked kind of cool wearing a headset with like a Tom Landry hat or something? Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be cool? Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just me.
It's the hoodie. It's the hoodie, man.
My favorite, though, I didn't know this, and you guys did. Justin Herbert's only 25 years old. I thought he was like Mahomes-esque or 28, 29. So it's killer. I think it's a home run for those guys and the Chargers. Let's go Bolts. I think that's a winner chicken dinner for Jim Harbaugh, and they'll be squaring off against Johnny and Lamar, maybe sometime in a Super Bowl. His brother. I don't know. Maybe down the road. All right, Lugs, do you have sports of other stuff ready to go?
Yes, we do, my friend.
All right, let's roll it up. There comes sports of other stuff. Wait, nope, sports of yesteryear. Sports of yesteryear. It's our man Lugs. He's out in his Buick, Regal, whatever, Buick Special. He's going to talk to us about it right now. Go, Lugs, go. Go.
All right, you get ready. We've got sports and other stuff in this particular sports of yesteryear. 1926, NFL rules that college students are unable to play for the NFL until graduating. 1958,
Future Baseball Hall of Famer Ted Williams becomes the then highest paid player in Major League when he resigns with the Boston Red Sox for $135,000. $135,000. Wow. And to live up to the other stuff part of the show, in 1971, American astronaut Alan Shepard is the first man or person to hit a golf ball on the moon.
Wow.
It's reported that it was a 6-iron and it went about a mile. So, and nobody at NASA knew about it because they didn't take into account the weight of the ball and club. Anyway, 2000 NFL Pro Bowl, Aloha Stadium, Honolulu. NFC beats AFC 51-31. MVP is Randy Moss, Minnesota Vikings wide receiver. 2011, get your booze ready, fellas. Super Bowl 45, Green Bay Packers beat Pittsburgh Steelers 31-25. Aaron Rodgers is named MVP. That's it for this edition of Sports of Yesteryear.
Yes, sir. So, can you hear like Chris Schenkel up on the moon? We think he's got a 6-iron and he's in the trap. But here he comes. Yeah. Quiet. And they got those quiet sticks up, like they do at the PGA?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That must have been something. Alan Shepard, huh? What year was that? That's back in the 70s? Wow.
71.
71.
He was like Apollo 14 or 15.
Wow. Yeah, because 17 was the last one that was up on the old rock. All right, we've got about 10 minutes left in this broadcast. What else is on the agenda? Lugs, you had something you want to talk about. I think something to do with Dartmouth, which, we don't talk about the Ivy League too much. We're not quite that scale, but I like it anyway. Go ahead.
Well, the Dartmouth basketball team had made their case before the National Labor Relations Board, and they won. The NLRB ruled that student athletes are actually employees since they're making money for the university. So what that means is they can form a union. They can ask for compensation. It's one of those things where NIL was just the beginning. And let's be honest, the NCAA is pretty much it's just name only anymore, especially, I'm sure that this will go all the way to the Supreme Court because they're going to fight that tooth and nail, because what that would mean across the country is who knows? How do you manage that? Where's the money going to go? Who's going to manage the money? So I just thought it was interesting that finally somebody said that these guys are employees. If you went to a practice at a major college football team, say Alabama or Auburn, and you're wrestling a 400 pound guy twice a day during the summer, that's a job. So you should be compensated accordingly. So that's my opinion here. What do you think, dog?
What's your hot take?
Actually, in 2014, there was a similar ruling for Northwestern football team made at the regional level. But it was overturned at the national level because, one is because the NLRB only applies to private sector, not state-run schools. And Northwestern obviously is involved in Big Ten, where a lot of the big schools are, state-run schools. So I don't know. It is intriguing. I don't know. You look at the NCAA, we thought it had no power, and I'm not saying that they're not going to be able, their bite might not end up. We already have the NCAA going after Tennessee, where the collective isn't even following. All you have to do is put up the paper mache of saying it's for they're doing this thing. No, they're just giving kids money, which is the one thing you can't do with the NIL. You have to have them, present these cars at this dealership, or, do a commercial for you, or be on this billboard. They're just, I guess they were just giving money to kids. I haven't got to deal with it or read into it, but there is some, but it is kind of fascinating, but like I said, with how NIL is now, it feels like, as you know, these kids are gonna get money. When if there's a market for it, but guys, I don't know if you all have noticed, like, I think one of the main reasons Nick Saban left is he doesn't want to deal with this stuff.
Correct. Yeah.
I think Krzyzewski left because he didn't want to deal with this stuff. You have Chip Kelly.
Jay Wright.
Yeah. You have Chip Kelly, who is the head coach of UCLA in football. He didn't get a job yet, but he was trying to get an OC job in the NFL. So if you think about it in terms of his rank, because essentially being a head coach, like, it used to be that you were the king of the college, the football. Like, that doesn't matter anymore. You're just like a middleman trying to, like, hold all these people on the ship, right?
It's true.
It's changed the whole dynamics where
It's season to season. You can have everybody on your team, like Alabama's team. They're all in the portal. I mean, like 20 or 30 of their players. These are good players too. They're all in the portal. So
and think about how many years they had to to encourage them and like push them around, push them to come to the school, like, multiple years, and then in one season the kid's like, I want to go somewhere else. It's like, why am I doing this? So so the defensive coordinator for Green Bay, he was the head coach of Boston College. He decided to essentially probably take a pay cut to leave. And I just think this is the utter fascinating thing, kind of like what we were talking about with streaming. We'll see where this is going, right? We'll see where this is going.
Yeah.
I'm interested, but we'll see.
It's gonna be crazy, I think, for the mid-majors and your smaller, non-competitive schools in the big conferences. Tough sledding ahead. Hey, favorite food to eat at the Super Bowl? Lugs, what do you like? Where do you go? What's your thing, man? What's your thing?
Well, I'm pretty basic. I like your plain Tostitos, or if you want to get fancy, blue corn chips and some really fine salsa. That's my, I do that until I pop, and then I just I just sit there and go, damn.
No piggies in a blanket. No guacamole.
No
meatballs.
None of that stuff.
Biscuits and gravy. I don't know. T-Dog, what do you like?
I have two variations. If I'm going the wing route, I'm going to go to Cluckers, get 10 naked wings with sweet Thai chili and a side of onion rings. If not, I'm going to go to the New Albanian, get a large pizza with Italian sausage and banana peppers with breadsticks with beer cheese.
Now, dude, that is one specific menu right there. Most of us, like, Lugs is fetching for a brand name. I'm just going to say like some cheesy dip and chips, like the queso. That's all good. And maybe a cold Corona with the lime that you set in the bottle.
Okay.
Not that fancy, but man, you got down to the brand, and you just gave one of our sponsors, New Albanian Pizza, friend of the show. They just got a little plug. In fact, here comes a piping hot one now. Here in the studio, in Studio 1A, New Albania.
Well, if we're going to do plugs, I mean, I like the Impellizzeri's pizza. It's deep dish. You can go deep dish Chicago. You can even get a Arizona pizza, which is on a cactus. So there you are.
A cactus pizza right here. Yeah, I'd have to go with the deep dish from the Giordano's up in Chicago. That thick.
Oh,
yes, sir. It takes about half an hour just to bake that sucker. I'd go for, and you only need like one slice because it's the size of a small, car, and you just take it out and got to have a knife and fork to chew on that. So I like that. I like that a lot. So what else on that? This is it? Is that all we got today, or what else? One more thing. We got about a little bit of time.
I don't know. Lugs, do you have anything?
Go ahead, brother.
3 minutes.
Well, it's 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. What do you all think of Rich Cimini with ESPN? He says the consensus is Zach Wilson could bring a 6th or 7th round pick if he were traded this offseason.
Wow.
Can this guy be revived if he goes to the right coaching staff?
Worked for Baker.
Yeah, I think he's actually going to be a decent backup somewhere. He just needs, he was young, and they threw him out there. I mean, I'm not a real fan of him, but they did him absolutely no favors whatsoever by throwing him out there.
I agree with you. I'm not saying he'll have the success of this guy, but considering the talent I think he has, and you look at who the coaching staff was on offense and just also the personnel, he wasn't going to do a whole lot. I'm not saying he was ever going to be a superstar, but it feels like he can have a similar trajectory, maybe not to the highs of this guy. It feels like he can have a Geno Smith, maybe a few years as a backup and turn around. I root for these people. I know sometimes I slag. The only person I will say, Cliff Kingsbury, you shouldn't have a job in the NFL, my friend.
Hey.
That's the only guy I'll go after.
But before we get away, we want to thank Teddy Bridgewater for all of his years of service. That injury, curtailed what could have been a better career. So thank you, Teddy Bridgewater.
10-year career.
Fun to watch.
Absolutely. That's going to bring to a close this adventurous episode of Sports and Other Stuff, brought to you in part by Austin Chiropractic. Remember the 5 most dangerous words. Maybe it will go away because there's a guy there we know. His name is
Fish. The year was 1945. World War II had just ended, and reggae shaman Bob Marley was born. In honor of the Rastaman's birth, this week Fish is getting his Jamaican on with the Not So Ganja Festival. That's this Saturday at 1 p.m. Come on down.
All right. Thanks for listening to Sports and Other Stuff. First in sound, first in service, and first in sports. We'll see you next week. So long for now.